Good evening. Music, when soft voices die, vibrates in the memory. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I am Vinod Narayanan, joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines.
Bahrain celebrated International Day of Human Fraternity. Future master plan for Salmania Medical Complex. Lata Mangeshkar, Nightingale of India's Bollywood, dies at 92. Kerala revised quarantine rules for international travellers. UAE to resume travel to African countries from today.
News in detail. Bahrain celebrated International Day of Human Fraternity. Permanent representative of the Kingdom of Bahrain to the United Nations in New York, Ambassador Jamal Faris Al Ruwai, affirmed that the Kingdom of Bahrain, under the leadership of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, and with the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, always seeks to consolidate the values of tolerance and openness among all people and cultures. He stressed Bahrain's drive to adhere to the noble human values and the values of tolerance, brotherhood and coexistence, adding that the kingdom has chosen peace as an approach and dialogue as a strategic choice. This came during the participation of the permanent representative of the Kingdom of Bahrain to the United Nations in New York in the celebration of the International Day of Human Fraternity. The event was organized by the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations and the permanent missions of the United Arab Emirates and the Arab Republic of Egypt via video communication on Friday. Future master plan for Salmania Medical Complex. The government hospital is looking forward to creating a future master plan for Salmania Medical Complex, a public hospital in Salmania. The authority has also launched a tender for the project, which calls for a comprehensive study to propose a new future master plan. Interested ones are to make bids before the 22nd of February 2022 with a BD 200 bond and BD 15 tender fees. IGA reports a 75% boost in suggestion submission via Tawasul in 2021. More than 350 suggestions received through the National Complaints and Suggestion System in 2021 were implemented by the Information and E-Government Authority. According to IGA, public submissions increased by 75% in 2021 compared to the year before, and the authority implemented 137 more suggestions in 2021. Following careful review, IGA CE Muhammad Ali Al Qad explained that submissions through electronic channels were prioritized according to adherence to the authority's digital strategy and were implemented as resources became available. Al Qaid affirmed that implemented suggestions included several related to ID card services, the e-traffic app and the Be Aware Bahrain app, which the kingdom launched to combat the spread of COVID-19. He stated that other submissions are currently under review. Illegal vendors will be charged double fines. Pavement vendors who block paths and infuriate local businesses could be hit by double your money penalties in a bid to stop them setting up shop again as soon as they pay the current non-deterrent fines. Offenders are ignoring regular inspections because they only have to pay between BD 20 and BD 50 slap on the wrist charges each time they are caught, according to MP Dr. Sausan Kamal. Preparations for Bahrain Sports Day 2022 discussed. Information Affairs Minister and members of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sport, Ali bin Muhammad Al Rumaihi, today received the Bahrain Sports for All Federation Chairman, Isa Muhammad Abdul Rahim, in the presence of the Assistant Under Secretary for Radio and Television Affairs, Abdullah Khalid Al Dosri. The minister commented the ongoing preparations for holding the Bahrain Sports Day 2022. The two sides discussed the necessary preparations and arrangements to cover the national event, in addition to ways to enhance cooperation between the Information Affairs Ministry and the Bahrain Sports for All Federation to contribute to boosting Bahraini sports and highlighting sports achievements. Today's COVID updates.
COVID updates brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers.
Lata Mangeshkar, Nightingale of India's Bollywood, dies at 92. Report.
Lata Mangeshkar, one of India's most venerated singers, who sang tens of thousands of songs in her lifetime, has died at the age of 92. She had been admitted to a hospital in Mumbai city in January after testing positive for COVID-19. The doctor who treated her said she died of multi-organ failure. Mangeshkar had an extraordinary career spanning over half a century, singing more than 30,000 songs across 36 languages. But it was her work in Bollywood, India's Hindi film industry, that made her a national icon. The Indian government has announced 2 days of mourning from today, during which the national flag would be flown at half-mast throughout the country. As news broke, tributes began pouring in for Mangeshkar, who was often called the Nightingale of Bollywood. President Ramnath Kovind said the news was heartbreaking for him, as it is for millions the world over, and added that in her songs, generations found expressions of their innermost emotions. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said Mangeshkar's death left a void in the nation that cannot be filled. Legendary singer's last rites with full state honors were conducted today in Mumbai.
Kerala revised quarantine rules for international travellers. Kerala has eased several COVID-19 restrictions for international passengers. Non-resident Indians and other international passengers need to undergo quarantine and tests only if they exhibit symptoms. The state has replaced the mandatory quarantine with an advisable status. Now we will be back after a very short break.
All your favorite products under one roof in Bahrain at 27-year-old Megamart and Macromart. Bakery, fresh meat and fish, fruits and vegetables, sweets and snacks, ready-to-eat foods, dairy products, grocery or consumer goods. To have a wonderful shopping experience, please visit your nearest Megamart Macromart branch. Megamart and Macromart, full of goodness.
Welcome back. UAE to resume travel to African countries from today. UAE authorities announced the removal of travel curbs to 12 African countries for fully vaccinated citizens from Sunday, February 6th. The countries are Kenya, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Republic of Congo, South Africa, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Mozambique, Namibia and Zimbabwe. The authorities specified the categories of citizens who are allowed to travel to these countries. Citizens who received the full doses of the approved COVID-19 vaccines in addition to the booster dose. Unvaccinated citizens who are medically exempt from the COVID-19 vaccine in addition to humanitarian cases and those traveling for treatment. Authorities urged citizens to adhere to all relevant precautionary and preventive measures and follow the health guidelines including social distancing, wearing face masks and regular hand washing. Saudi allows booster shot for COVID recovered. Saudi Arabia is allowing those infected with COVID-19 to receive the booster dose immediately after recovery, its health ministry has announced. For those who did not test positive, the booster shot is available 3 months after the second dose. Earlier, the Interior Ministry announced that all Saudi Arabian citizens traveling outside the country must take a third dose starting from Wednesday. Exceptions to this rule include those younger than 16 years and citizens who have an exempt status on the Tawaklana application. Saudi Leap 22 jumps to first place in international technology events. The inaugural edition of the Leap has set now records for a debut technology event, attracting over 100,000 registered attendees from more than 80 countries, over 700 exhibitors including the world's leading technology companies and over 1,500 of the most innovative startups, along with more than 500 international speakers, joined Leap 22, making it the largest ever first edition for a technology event. Leap 22, which concluded Friday in Riyadh, saw more than $6.4 billion of investments and new technology initiatives announced, with $1 million in prizes awarded to the winners of the rocket fuel startup competition, an international contest to find the best new business ideas. Saudi Arabia arrested 13,279 illegals in a week. 13,279 violators have been arrested in various regions of the kingdom within a week. Those arrested included 6,712 violators of the residency laws, about 4,789 violators of the border security regulations, and more than 1,778 violators of the labor law. People were arrested while trying to cross the border into the kingdom and also for trying to flee the kingdom crossing borders. The security forces also arrested people who were involved in transporting violators and giving them shelter. Moroccan boy declared dead after well rescue. A small boy trapped in a well in northern Morocco for 5 days died before rescuers were able to reach him last night and retrieve his body, two government officials said. Footage posted on social media showed the scene after the body was recovered, with hundreds of distraught rescue workers and onlookers gathered at the site, chanting to God and shining the flashlights of their phones into the air. Rayan Avram, aged 5, fell into the well at his village on Tuesday, triggering a huge rescue effort that engrossed the country. Rescuers finally reached him last night after removing much of the adjacent hillside and delicately tunneling a horizontal passage into the well. King Mohammed sent condolences to his parents, a statement carried by state media reported. Cyclone Batsirai high winds and rain pound Madagascar. The full force of Cyclone Batsirai pounded Madagascar's eastern coast with torrential winds and rain Saturday night. The center of the tropical storm landed near Mandjari on the east coast and moved inland across the island. The cyclone gained strength as blew across the Indian Ocean, with gale force winds reaching peaks of 235 kilometers per hour, according to the island's meteorology department. Batsirai, which means help in the Shona language, is classified as a dangerous storm, and officials have warned it could inflict significant and widespread damage, particularly flooding in the east, the southeast and the central highlands, said the department in a statement, according to the Associated Press. Death toll from avalanches in Austrian Alps rises to 9. Authorities in Austria warned Saturday of considerable risk of avalanches in the west of the country after 9 people were killed within 24 hours. Police said 8 people died in 3 separate incidents on Friday in an avalanche near the Austrian-Swiss border. 4 Swedish citizens and their Austrian guide were killed, the Associated Press reported. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayanan, News Live. Good night.